Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Jedi Night's Watch for another Hot Toys figure unboxing and review. Now, I was going to review the Hulk from Endgame here on this video, but Iron Man Mark 85 Battle Damage version was just announced last week, and the hype is real for that figure. And it's so real that I was actually holding out to get it, but I just couldn't wait. The 85 looks so great. And I wasn't going to pay, obviously, the overseas shipping prices and the inflated prices for a Battle Damage 85. And of course, Sideshow's going to take a few more months to get it in stock there. So I picked up the Iron Man Clean version 85 from Ray at Hawkwars Toys on eBay. If you haven't checked him out, please do so. This guy is awesome with his product. He has brand new pieces that are in immaculate shape, and he does a great job shipping, and he ships for the most part same day or the next morning. So check that out. A little plug there for Hawkwars Toys. So I may or may not get the 85 Battle Damage version, but I'm just I watched Infinity War and Endgame again this week. So, you know, obviously the juices are flowing for the Avengers, and I got this guy in hand. Before this, my only Iron Man was the Mark 7, which I do like a lot, but this one is on another level, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Before we get going, I want to invite you to smash that like button if you enjoy these videos. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm not sure what you're waiting for. I'm sure a lot of people watching this video haven't subscribed yet. Please do so. We're going to have a great 2022 together, and I'm really excited. And ring that bell so you don't miss any new videos coming your way. I want to start doing some more live videos, so let me know in the comments below if that's something you'd like to see. But without further ado, let's get into the figure, and first let's take a look at the art box. As we have the box on the rotating table, we can see a great view of the art box, and it carries over that Endgame theme that we've seen with a lot of other figures that we've reviewed on the channel. This box, I don't know if it's just this Iron Man or if they all have it and I just didn't catch it, but this one has more of like a metallic sheen to it when it hits certain light angles. And we do have the portrait of Iron Man on the cover there, and it looks really nice. And we have in a glossy logo, Avengers Endgame. This is going to be MMS 528 D30. So yes, this is a die-cast figure, which all Iron Man figures are nowadays. On the back, we do have the creators and the warnings, and on the bottom, we have like a foil logo of Avengers as well as Iron Man on the top. I love the artwork on these Endgame boxes. This would be cool to just display all the boxes next to each other just to see all the portraits of all the characters, but who has the room for that, right? Now, when we get the box laying flat on its back, this is going to be a side slip cover, which is my ultimate favorite box with the styrofoam. It just has a very high-end feel to it, and the box is thicker. I love the styrofoam. I could do away with those plastic clam cases that they put most of the figures in, and I would love if they just put every figure in a box style like this. The side slip with the nice styrofoam, it just looks so great. And when we lift off that styrofoam cover, we do get our first glimpse of our Iron Man 85, and he looks fabulous, guys. Woo! Full sheen, full shine, clean as can be. Let's get him out of the box. But before we do, let's take a look at the accessories and the base that he comes with. So we can find our base and a couple other accessories on the bottom portion of the figure. There's like a bottom tray there. And when we get all of that out onto the table, we'll focus on the base first. And when we have that here, it is our typical Endgame base. And I will say right off the bat, I would much rather have a diorama base like the Battle Damage version comes with. So that is obviously probably something that's going to be better on that version. Here we just have the basic base with the Avengers A on it, and it's got that gloss to it. And then the Iron Man logo on the back, or in the background, I should say. And nice Avengers Endgame shine to the logo here as well. The rest is going to be like a matte finish with a little bit of texture to it. And on the front, it does say Iron Man. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Again, we've seen these before. It does come with the dynamic flight pole as well as the waist grabber here. And yeah, not much more to say about it than that. It's a decent base. It matches all of the other ones. But I much would have rather had a diorama base instead of the traditional Avengers Endgame. Next, let's take a look at the accessories that come with our figure. We do have 2 extra pair of hands here, the articulated hands along with the blaster hands. And then we do have the nano gauntlet. We have the Tony Stank head sculpt, as well as his collar to put on the figure. And then we do have the back, I do not remember the name of this, but it's the nanotechnology that goes on the back, like the blasters. So let's just take a look at the hands first, and here we do have a good look. So this is the clean version, but Hot Toys went through the trouble to still add some nicks and dents and scratches here, and I think it looks really, really good. I love the kind of the cherry red color to the suit. It looks really nice along with that silver going on right there. So very good. And again, these are articulating hands, so you can just pose them how you would like. So it's always nice that they give you those. And then we do have the blasting hands here. These are sculpted, so you're not going to be able to move them, but pretty much, you know, these same. It's just got a nice shine to it. Very, very high-end looking sculpted hands here. Now this is an interesting piece because, as we all know, we didn't see this nano gauntlet until he was all battle damaged at the end of the movie. You know, when he says, "I am Iron Man," probably the greatest Iron Man moment of all time. And so Hot Toys didn't need to give us this, and it's a really cool addition that they did, because we've seen Hot Toys with other figures kind of cheap out on certain things, like Black Panther. They didn't give you a head sculpt with the first figure, or you know, just other things where they wouldn't have had to give you this. So it's a nice addition, especially if you got this and you don't think you're going to be able to get the battle damage, then this is nice to have. Again, this is going to be articulating as well, so you can kind of try to pose him in the snap pose. The nice thing about the battle damage version is you're going to have actually 3 hands. You get the articulating one like this, and then the snapping one, and then I think the kind of the gripping one or the resting hand, kind of like that. So it's cool. This just kind of snaps into the forearm. Now, I am one of those collectors that does not put batteries in, does not use batteries. I just think it's a pain in the butt, a waste of time, especially with these Iron Man figures. So forgive me, but I'm not going to be showing you kind of how they light up. I'm sure there's a ton of other videos that you can see that if you want, but I don't get into that. It's the batteries die right away. They don't light up that great. But just so you can see, this does have an LED bulb, and it just plugs in and lights it up. But obviously, typically the end stones here don't light the best, because you just have the one LED here and then it just snaps on. So we do have articulation there as well. But this is really cool to have, because you can still do certain poses with the clean 85. We do have this piece here that just kind of attaches to the back, and it has the plugs where it goes into the back there. And this is going to be fully plastic, and it definitely feels plastic. Not sure I'll be using this, but it's definitely cool to have. Kind of gives your Iron Man a different look, so I like that a lot. It's very, very clean. You know, there's a couple nicks here, but again, it looks nice, but it definitely looks and feels plastic. And to the head sculpt that caused a ruckus all over the world, we have the Tony Stank head sculpt. I gotta say, I don't think this is that terrible. And again, this is all subjective. We all see things differently. We all interpret things differently. So everybody has their own opinion. Is it spot on? Definitely not. But do I see Tony Stark? Look at right there, perfect. You know, there's angles here where he definitely looks good. But, you know, obviously Hot Toys maybe could have done a little bit of a better job. But again, I just don't think it's that terrible. So I'm not even that upset that I got this head sculpt with the figure. I think the paint applications look great. But there is just something on certain angles that, yeah, it's not there. But overall, I do think it's a decent head sculpt. And I don't think it warrants the ruckus that the Hot Toys community kind of spewed onto this guy when he first was announced. But, you know, the good thing is Hot Toys listens, and they swapped it out for a different head sculpt. So you know, more power to you. But here it would just plug into the kind of the collar here and then plug right into the Iron Man figure. And we'll show you what that looks like in a little bit. But for now, let's get the figure out here and take our first look. And here we have our first look at the figure out of the box. And I gotta say, he is breathtaking. I love the colors on this guy, and we'll compare him with the Mark 7 in a little bit, but right off the bat, the red just seems to be a deeper, like a cherry red going on. It's got a really nice shine to it. I love that they put a lot more gold into this figure. I love how the gold just kind of goes with the red, and then you have like the silver going through all over the body as well, just to kind of balance it out. And it's sleek, but yet it seems more traditional, more true to the comics of Iron Man. I love the helmet itself and just kind of how that looks. Yeah, I'm definitely impressed. Let's get him off the turntable and kind of zoom in and take a closer look here. Now, this is considered the clean version here of the 85, but Hot Toys did go through the trouble to just add little intricate details of battle damage. Nothing over the top, but just enough to really sell the realism of the figure and to kind of give you that feel like, yeah, he's used this suit. It's maybe not battle damaged, but you know, it's definitely just not 100% pristine, which is something that I really like. And man, he just looks really good in hand. He's pretty heavy. Definitely, you know, hefty figure, a lot of die cast going on. Typically you can feel the die cast by, it's just kind of cold to the touch. But again, I love the color scheme going on here, the deep red along with that gold and then that silver just kind of lining through the outfit. It is going to be like your other Iron Man figures, but with a lot of improvements. We do have the typical abdomen pop out to get more movement there. The legs can pop out as well. Just be careful that you move these plastic plates when popping it back in so you don't break them. The knees are like on a ratchet, which is really nice. There is good movement here in the toes and the feet as well. A little bit of toe movement, but not too much. And then when we move the bicep, or when we move the arm here, the bicep plate actually kind of slides and goes out of the way, so that's really nice. Now we just slide it back in. The shoulder plates are on like springs, so they just kind of move along with the figure itself, and they just kind of go back in place. You can take this chest piece off if you want to just kind of see what's going on inside, and then it just pegs back in. And then on top here, this comes off, and there's a battery compartment as well as the switch here to light up the eyes. And it is, I believe it's magnetic, but it does want to pop off pretty easily. And going to the back, this gold piece just kind of, let's see here, it pops off, and then you can peg in like the neon tech like launcher, whatever that's called. Sorry, I can't remember. Let's see if we can swap out the head sculpt here. And here he is with the Tony Stank head sculpt. I did have to do it off camera just because it took some force to get this head on. But this one comes off pretty easy, and then you just remove like the collar piece, put the other one on, as well as the head sculpt, and there he is. He's not terrible, guys. I mean, like I said, not perfect, but not terrible. All right, let's just flip him over here as well, and we can pop this out possibly. There we go. And then this can just install right on the back, and there you have that as well. But yeah, I think this is a really nice figure, and let's get my Mark 7 out here now and kind of compare the two and see what's the same and what's different. And here we have the Mark 85 alongside the Mark 7. And there's quite a bit of differences here. Obviously, the Mark 7 is going to be quite a bit older and just a different bodysuit. But I always thought that the Mark 7 kind of was shiny and looked, you know, shiny, I guess. But like compared to the 85, he's actually pretty matte finish, and he's got a little bit of gloss to him, but not really, especially compared to the 85. Also, the 85, like I said, that red is a deeper red. It's more of a cherry red, and I like that red actually a lot more. We do have more gold in the figure as well. And it's going to be more of a sleek, simple body style, which I think is a nice contrast to the Mark 7. I was thinking possibly of selling the Mark 7 when I got this 85, but man, there is just still a place in my heart for that Mark 7, and they both, I think, have a spot in my shelf, so not sure I'm going to be able to part with that 7, but yeah, there's a comparison between the two Iron Man figures. Now let's get them into some poses and talk about some of the things that I like and some of the things not so much. Alright, so now that we have this guy into some poses, let's talk about some of the things that I really like about the figure and some things not so much. Starting with the things that I really like. The first would be the design of the figure itself, the colors, the deep cherry red along with that gold and silver kind of lining through the whole figure. It has great balance. It's kind of got that traditional Iron Man look. It's simple and sleek and extra glossy. I really like that a lot about this figure. The second thing that I really like is that Hot Toys decided to give us the Nano Gauntlet. They didn't have to do that. They could have just said, hey, that's not screen accurate. He only really had it when he was battle damaged, so we're only going to put it in the battle damage version. They didn't do that. I think that's awesome because it just opens up a ton of possibilities on what we can do pose-wise with this figure, and we just have a lot more fun, which is super, super cool because Hot Toys, again, didn't need to do that. And the third thing I really like about the figure is just the design features, the improvements that Hot Toys made in the figure itself. How the shoulder plates just kind of move on springs and the bicep plates move out of the way just to make this guy a lot easier to pose, along with the ratcheted kneecaps, which I do think have been there in previous models, but just overall the engineering on this figure is extraordinary. Now for some things that I didn't like as much. The first and the biggest one would probably be the head sculpt, and I did defend it a little bit because it does look better in person. However, Hot Toys still took a step back with this head sculpt. We've had better Tony Stark head sculpts, before this one. At certain angles you can see Robert Downey Jr., but straight on and other angles, it just something is off. So I think they did drop the ball there, but in their defense, they did fix their mistake and they did reissue the head sculpt. The second thing that I'm not a big fan of is the fact that we just get a plain old Endgame base. I think all Iron Man figures, for that matter, I think all figures really should have a diorama base, but especially Iron Man figures. You're already paying a premium, so give us that diorama base. I know the battle damage version has one, so I think this guy should have had one as well. It just brings the figure to life, and you're paying that kind of money. That should have been included as well. And the third thing that I don't like about the figure is that we still have to either not have the figure lit up or mess around with batteries, and just the way that this thing lights up, it's just a pain in the butt. You have to take all these compartment covers off, put the batteries in, turn it on, put it back on, and then the batteries die right away. It's just such a hassle. I don't even light my figures because of it. I wish Hot Toys would somehow include an adapter, an AV adapter, that we could light this guy through a wall outlet. I know, it would obviously create a wire, but if they had a small enough wire that we could hide, I think it would be so worth it to have this guy on all the time. Iron Man figures, again, you're paying a premium. These things should be lit up all the time. There's so many different areas that do light up, especially with the Nano Gauntlet on, that it would look so cool if this guy could be on all the time. I don't think it'll happen anytime soon, but Hot Toys, if you're listening, let's make it happen. I encourage you guys to look into this one, as again, this is the last suit Tony Stark wore, and it's a very iconic moment in the movie, even though this isn't the battle damage version. I still think it deserves a place in your collection. Alright guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, ring that bell, and until next time, stay safe out there, and we'll see you soon.